Hello, welcome to the programme. Now, in Ukraine, conflict resolution through mediation has been available for several decades. Yet this strategy to end disputes has only really started to develop over the past few years. Now, these disagreements occur at different levels of society and business, at work, between neighbours, and when using public services, for example. But now, one project called Your Rights and the Law, spearheaded by Ukraine Diana Protsenko, aims to provide citizens with information and training in human rights, consumer rights, emotional intelligence, and coaching, among other things. Now, here to talk about this project and mediation in general is Diana Protsenko, a lawyer and senior lecturer at the Kyiv Mohila Academy. Diana, thank you very much for coming on the programme.
Thank you.
So this is a really interesting topic, actually, talking about conflict resolution and mediation, and this is something that you're involved in heavily. For our audience who perhaps don't know so much about mediation, can you briefly explain what it's about?
So mediation, it is one of the methods how to deal with your disputes. And we say that mediation is the heart of all system of alternative dispute resolution. So it's alternative to court system dispute resolution.
Okay, and many countries this is quite common, but actually in Ukraine, although it's been around for a long time, several decades in fact, it's only become a popular service to use for people over the past couple of years. Why is that, do you think?
Maybe we can think about several main reasons. For mediators, it became very clear that we should unite, we should work together inside our community, and in this case it would be much easier to develop the sphere of mediation, to develop market. I must say that so we can say this is one of the reasons why all our actions became more effective. Another issue it's about all these post-Maidan activities. It's about all terrible situations which happened in our country. It's Crimea annexation and war on the east. So our people understand now that they need something more effective than go to court or to fight with each other.
Because I guess people don't even trust the courts so much, even still.
Yeah.
And mediation is a very broad scope as well. It covers a lot of things. What sort of aspects of life does mediation cover? Is it just commercial, or is it about civil rights as well, that sort of thing?
You are absolutely right that we can think about absolutely all spheres of our life where people meet each other and they have something which can be a source of conflict. So in case you have a neighbor dispute, you can ask for mediation support, mediation service. In case it is connected with some intellectual property rights, again, it's a case for mediation. If it is about some defamation which was spread over the air or something like this, it's about mediation as well. Any commercial dispute, again, you can ask for mediation support in such cases. And even in criminal cases, we have very good examples that mediator was very helpful, especially when the person who violated some laws is a young one or was in a very so to say hard situation.
Like a difficult situation.
Yes, absolutely, difficult situation. So absolutely any kind of relations between people, you can use mediation. Yeah,
and I would imagine actually a lot of the time, people take matters into their own hands. A lot of the time they want to solve these problems almost secretly, in fact. So what is the benefit of mediation as opposed to sort of sorting it out yourself ultimately, which is what many people do?
As far as I understood, what is very attractive in mediation?
Yes, exactly. What sort of benefits?
It is always about resources. So in case you decide to use mediation in your dispute, you can spend less money, less time, and it is also helps to reduce the level of emotional discomfort comfort in your situation. It is also helpful to rebuild, or to save your relations, and it is also very helpful for future of a relation between people. And to speak about money, about this resource, now it became more expensive for people to go to court. It is connected with official all these expenditures. It is also about legal help costs, etc., etc. And also, when you have your case in a law system, in court system, you never know what will be the result. And in mediation, you can take your fate in your own hands, and you can influence what the result would be.
Whereas sometimes in the court, you wouldn't be able to do so, or even if you thought you hadn't, maybe you had. People don't trust the court system, as we said. Do you have any examples, perhaps, of successful cases when mediators have got involved and the conflict has been solved, or there's a resolution?
Yeah, at first I should make such a maybe a clause, that one of the principles of mediation process is confidentiality. So it's very good. It is very good for parties because they can feel more comfortable and confident that nobody will know about this case and about even using of mediation in this case. From another hand, it's this principle always is not very good when we try to talk about statistics of mediation cases, and we can't give this public statistics that we have, for example, such number of cases in civil sphere or in commercial sphere, etc., in family cases. But nevertheless, we have, so to say, stories, success stories, which are publicly published on some resources, and you can read. So you can, for example, go to Ukrainian Center of Mediation, and they have these success stories which are published, and you can also read about such cases. It's in commercial sphere. If you are now interested in some other spheres, I can give you several examples.
Yeah, okay. I mean, also, do you have those examples now?
Yes, I can. Yeah. For example, now we have very high tension, especially in some communities where we have IDPs which were moved.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about this. You guessed my next question, actually.
Okay. So, and mediation is very good tool to help communities to deal with such IDPs community, to come to any, so to say, more effective decision how they can live together. And we call such processes like dialogues, because it's how to help these big communities to reduce this tension inside those.
Because I've heard a lot of examples of this where people who've been displaced from sort of parts of the Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast, part of which is now occupied, some on the government-controlled frontline part, where they've come to Kiev and they've been denied housing or services, that sort of thing. So now, how do you mediate this sort of thing?
So several months ago, I had such a case, and it was connected with IDPs, but it was like inside conflict in this small community of IDPs. And I was invited to help those people. And this is the case when mediation is not always successful only when you have an agreement between all the parties at the end of this mediation process. Sometimes it is about to help every party to understand better their interests and to prioritize properly their interests, and to understand that their interests and needs can be met more effectively in a different way. And it is a good time just to split and to go different ways. And this is also a good result for mediation. And we had such a case several months ago.
Oh, that's really interesting. And actually, when I started doing some research on this topic itself, I didn't find so much information about mediation in Ukraine.
It is about confidentiality.
Yeah. But what sort of strategies do you use? I mean, I've heard the terms, I think it's called empathetic listening and the zone of possible agreement. Can you explain a bit more about these terms in general?
Okay, so it is about strategies which are instruments of a mediator.
Yes, basically.
Exact techniques. So when we teach mediators, we give them different instruments and techniques. At first, we should keep in mind that effective communication and emotional intellect, it's about your possibility and your skills to be more effective in any kind of dispute. So all our mediators need to have this emotional intelligence, plus be very effective in communication. It's about active listening skills, for example, or asking right questions, because a mediator will never consult parties what to do, will never recommend parties what to do, will never evaluate the case itself. But our main instrument is how to work with questions, helping people to understand what is better for them exactly in their case, and what is better for their future life.
See, what's really interesting, I mean, I can give you a case, for example, that I was thinking about before the interview. If, for example, there is a person who has a job, but their manager is very stubborn, and the manager doesn't want to back down. They don't want to negotiate. It doesn't just happen here. It happens, in all across the world, I would imagine. So how do you deal with this sort of situation?
You mean in case one person is in a weaker position?
Yeah, exactly. Or if one person is refusing to change their view, change their position, they're very adamant on what they want to achieve.
I must say that this question is a difficult one, but I will explain why.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is always about involving other party to this process. In case one party is ready and asking for help, mediator is ready to help, but how to involve another party in this mediation process? So mediator should have some additional instruments how to make a mediation process more attractive for another party, and also we work with questions, trying to help another person to understand how to balance, how this process can be more beneficial for this person as well. So it could be about some reputational risk, it could be about some risks connected with legal framework, etc., etc. And a mediator can work with another party, helping to understand and to, we say so, it's like devil advocate technique. So we, and it is also about balancing power. Sometimes people who think that they are very strong, their position in this dispute is very strong, they don't think that they should waste their time for mediation process.
Exactly, yes.
Yes, that is why mediator needs to help another person to understand, is it a really strong position? Or you will never know how the court will react to this situation. You will you can't be very sure that in case you will even win the court case, especially in Ukraine, it doesn't mean that you will have this then a court decision implemented into life. So using our questions, we help another party to understand a real situation.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And I wish we had a bit more time. I have one final question for you as well about the different projects in Ukraine related to mediation. One is called Your Rights and the Law. Can you tell us a bit more about the project itself and how that helps people to come to a resolution in these disputes?
If I may, I would say like this. So mediation was introduced in Ukraine really more than 20 years ago, but it was not so popular. And now we have a situation when people really seek for some more effective techniques. And from another side, we understand that we can show more resources with which we can help those people. example. And this project, which you just announced, so this project is connected with informing people about different strategies, peaceful strategies dealing with their disputes. Because I should admit that a lot of people in Ukraine, they really don't know about such.
No, I can imagine. There's not much information out there that's certainly publicly available.
Yes,
it's not obvious.
Absolutely. Yeah. So one of the main aims of the project is to give as broad information about such strategies, and television and radio were chosen to help as much people as possible to become more aware that different strategies exist, and you can choose the exact strategy which is more appropriate in your particular case. And in this project, which will last next 5 months, there will be an opportunity also to come and to participate in such events, when some experts will be available for asking questions and answering their questions about different problematic situations from ordinary life, and experts will answer. So it could be some sort of free legal aid, but not only legal aid. It would be like how you can be more effective in dealing with your disputes using communicational techniques, and knowing your rights better, and knowing to whom you can address to get additional help in case you don't want or you are not ready to go to court.
Okay, well, that is very interesting. I wish we had a bit more time, but we'll have to end it there. So, Diana, thank you so much for coming into our studio, and hopefully we'll be in touch soon about those events.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, goodbye.
You're watching UATV. Today we were talking about mediation.